That must be what 3-0 tastes like. Huddle up.
You don't want none! You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel. And in this huddle, baby, we're going to talk about the 45-10 whooping the Carolina Tar Heels basically put on the North Carolina Central Eagles. Now, listen, it was not pretty for large portions of this football game. Carolina took a 17-10 lead in at the half, and that is obviously after North Carolina Central had an opening drive touchdown to get up 7-0, man. And, you know, a lot of us were ticked off. A lot of us were pissed at the energy that the defense showed. But here's the simple fact of the matter. They gave up 3 points after that. 3 points after that. I don't care who you're playing. That's not bad football. And we're going to talk about some stats here that are actually pretty impressive. And it's something that we should definitely be pleased with as North Carolina fans. Now, we'll talk about kind of the ebbs and flows of the game, but I want to get these stats out there. So, team stats for North Carolina Central. North Carolina Central had 167 total yards in this football game. 91 passing and 76 rushing. That is big time, son. They didn't get over 100 yards passing or rushing. I love that. I stinking love that. And you know what? Maybe it didn't seem like that at the very beginning stages of this football game because they marched right down the stinking field and they hung 7 on us, man. But to only give up 167 yards of total offense is great. I know it's North Carolina Central. Trust me, I get it. But you know what? Here in Tar Heel Nation, we're not necessarily accustomed to that over the last decade of football. So that was great to see. Not to mention, Carolina had a 6 or 7 play goal line stand where basically, you know, the referees tried to put their thumbprints all over this stinking game just before the half. And they were able to bow up on 3 separate occasions inside the 5. Once again, I don't care who you're playing. That is big time. And that's the 3rd time in 2 football games that we've seen that because Carolina did it twice against Charlotte and Carolina did it against North Carolina Central to end the first half. So really impressed with Carolina holding strong in the red zone. That's great. I don't care what anybody says. Jeff Collins has changed a lot of the cultural issues that we've had on this defense, man. So really pleased to see with that. That's also 3 straight games, guys. 3 straight games where North Carolina has not given up 100 yards rushing on the ground. How do you win football games? Pretty simple. You stop the run, you run the football. Well, they gave up 76. They rushed for 330. Good stinking night. Omarion Hampton had himself a ball game. We'll go over his stats in just a second. But this is the difference in the football game. We should be able to lean on a team like North Carolina Central. We eventually did just that. 330 yards on the ground. Omarion Hampton had 25 carries for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he looked like an All-American in this one. Really pleased to get him those touches. I hate that he had to get all those stinking touches, man, to kind of open this game up. But at the same time, I'm pleased because he's getting a little bit closer to those numbers where he should be. That means he's averaging about $150 a game, 125, 130, and a touchdown. So pleased to see that, but we know what Big O can do. And kudos to the offensive line because they opened up some good holes for not only Omarion, they opened up some real good holes for my man Bullet, and they also opened up a real good hole for Charleston French, who was able to, you know, scoot in for a touch just before the end of the game, which enabled me to get the score prediction right. I said 45-10, And the Heels won 45-10, man. They put up 513 yards of total offense and 183 through the year. 183 yards through the air. Excuse me, it's getting late. So, interesting about the pass game. So, Connor was in for the first quarter. The offense was absolutely stagnant. He ends up coming off the field. He got hurt. And in steps Jacolby Criswell, right? And I don't know about everybody else. I think a lot of guys saw this because in the live stream we were talking about it. Jacolby seemed like a guy who's been playing college football for a while. He was poised in the pocket. He definitely was making, decisions faster than I would say that Connor was making his decisions. And it was great to see, man. I really felt like when Jacolby came in, we actually had a downfield passing game. And he missed on a couple of deep throws. Guys that were kind of open, and he'd probably like to have those throws back. But he looked good, man. And I'll be honest with you, man, the three quarterbacks that we've seen this year, and yes, this even is, in reference to the game that we saw where Connor started against Charlotte, there's just a confidence and a what's the word I'm looking for, man? He's poised in the pocket. It's just a poise, man, and it's different. You can see from 12 and even from 15 and even 14 when he was still in there, man. So I was really pleased with what I saw from Jacolby Criswell. And I'm going to be very interested to see what Carolina, what Mac Brown and Chip Lindsey decide in this, because we've been told all week, actually for the past 2 weeks, ever since Max got hurt, that, Jacolby is just not ready. Well, that's not what I saw tonight. I saw a kid come in and sling the football around with some confidence, dude. Jacolby finished 14 of 23 for 161 yards and a touchdown in about 2.5 quarters of play. About 2.5 quarters of play, man. So he looked good. He looked serviceable. He even took off on a run. It's interesting because when you look at the team stats, he actually even had more rushing yards than Connor did. I think he had, it says Jacolby had 3 carries for 16 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, and he dang near scored on that long of 11 that he had. Connor had 2 rushes for 6 yards. His long was 5. So, and then Connor Harrell finished 2 for 6 for 22 passing yards. There was a difference, man. I don't know if it was a one-off. I don't know if that's just this football game. I don't know. But there was a difference in the offense. We had 0 points in the first quarter with Connor under center. And I'm just looking at this objectively. The rest of the game, before Jacolby was taken out, I think 38 of those points were under Jacolby Criswell. And then the last 7 came on. I think Connor Harrell came back on. And then French had that big 45-yard touchdown run to end the game. So, is there a controversy right now? I don't see how there could be. Because once again, the clear eye test in this one screams. I mean, it just screams that Jacolby Criswell should go into next week being the guy that gets all the reps with the ones, man. Am I the only one that thinks that, bro? Am I the only one that thinks that? I mean, that's just kind of what I saw. 0 points in the first quarter. Jacolby comes out. We have 17 in the second. Now, we don't get any points in the third, but we scored 28 points in the fourth. So that's just one of those things that I saw, man, that I just can't shake it. I can't shake it, man. He hit the tight ends. John Copenhaver had 6 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. Had a really good move on a screen pass. That was Jacolby Criswell's lone touchdown pass. Bryson Nesbitt had 3 catches for 42 yards. Christian Hamilton had a beautiful catch, 1 for 29, where Jacolby kind of threw it to where there was grass, and Christian came back and made an outstanding play to prolong a drive that was, I think it was 3rd and long. So I just felt like the offense kind of popped when Jacolby was there. And it was the ability to create a respectable passing game that I think is going to be beneficial long term when Carolina moves into stiffer competition, man. There was a clear guy who was able to do that, and it was Jacolby Criswell. So I'm really interested to see what Mac says in the presser, what Chip says in the presser, and then what decision that Carolina makes moving forward, because confidence is a big thing. Leadership is a big thing. And, you know, like I said, I felt like there was somebody there that was poised, and it was Jacolby Criswell. And we scored a lot of points with him under center, man. So 45-10, that was my score prediction. I hit it on the head. It did not happen how I anticipated it happening. You know, and Carolina runs up 500 yards of offense, 330 on the ground. One thing that I do want to see is I was really perturbed with how Carolina came out in that football game. It gave a lot of Virginia vibes from last year. The crowd didn't show up. It was half capacity, wasn't a lot of juice. The defense looked like there wasn't a lot of juice. And we absolutely, I can't believe I'm about to forget this, we absolutely killed ourselves with penalties, man. I mean, they got a couple of first downs because of just stupid penalties on our behalf. 16 penalties for 102 yards. Now, North Carolina Central had 11 for 89 of their own, and a lot of those were in the second half, but we've got to be better than that. It's unacceptable to have those mental mistakes in the ball game. Interesting enough, we had 2 turnovers. The big play where Christian Hamilton pounced on that stinking rock when the punt returner fumbled it, I think it was in the end of the first, or maybe it was the very beginning of the second. That was a huge play, man. Johnny on the spot, recovered the football. We're able to turn that into 7 points and kind of turn the tide of the football game. And then, you know what? I've been giving Caleb some heat a little bit, you know, because he's kind of been targeted, but he made a great read and a great interception in the latter stages of the game that obviously allowed Carolina to have a short field, and they were able to also turn that into 7. So I'm telling you right now, man, the defense is improved. The defense is improved. Little, you know, perturbed, obviously, with how they started this football game. But then when you couple that with a quarterback that can give you a respectable game through the air, that's going to open up a ton of things running the football, man. And like I said, I can't overstate it enough. It'll be very interesting to see how Mac Brown and Carolina go through this thing moving forward. For one, what I'm seeing, Jacolby Criswell has got to be your stinking guy. Confidence, poise. He's just much more composed in the pocket. And I think the offensive line played better in the second half as well, giving him cleaner pockets. So, you know, when I saw that, I'm not going to lie, man, I literally kind of reevaluated everything. And once again, if we can get decent quarterback play with the schedule in place, dude, we could have a special stinking year. So I want to know what you think down in the comment section, Tar Heel Nation and college football family. Am I onto something, bro? Or am I up there in the nosebleeds? What do you think about the Jacolby Criswell, Connor Harrell situation? What do you think about the fact that Omarion Hampton had to get 25 touches and score 3 touchdowns in order for us to walk away with this? How pleased are you with the defense? You know, they give up an opening touchdown drive. They hold them to 3 points for the rest of the game. I think that's pretty damn stinking good, bro. I think they just didn't come out with any juice. And shame on them for that. And Mac Brown needs to make sure that that doesn't follow suit next week. We need to learn from this because each team is a different, you know, it's a different football team. So we got to make sure that we don't duplicate these slow starts. Next week is going to be a 12 p.m. kick. You know, so it's been a while, I think, since we've played at 12 o'clock. So it's going to be interesting to see, man, like, are you guys ready to play football, man? Because JMU, that's a pretty proud group of 5 team. They're going to come in there, man, and they're going to want to play football just like Central did. So got to be ready. And, we can't have any more of these stinking, slow starts, especially when the competition gets better. So once again, 45-10, Carolina undefeated, baby. 3-0 all stinking day. I will take that. The boys in Raleigh can't make that stinking claim. Carolina 45-10. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we will catch you on the next one, Tar Heel Nation.